Sanctuary cities coming under fire today after Attorney General Jeff Sessions made a surprise appearance at the daily White House press briefing, reigniting the crackdown on illegal immigrants' safe havens. Roll tape.
Countless Americans would be alive today, and countless loved ones would not be grieving today if these policies of sanctuary cities were ended. The President has rightly said disregard for law must end. In his executive order, he stated that it is the policy of the executive branch to ensure that states and cities comply with all federal laws, including all immigration laws.
So with the weight of the White House squarely behind immigration enforcement, who stands to lose? Here to discuss, Michael Wilds, Pablo Manriquez, and Emily Jashinsky. Emily, let me start with you. We knew President Trump was really serious about this particular topic. I think, though, the salvo today from Attorney General Sessions caught a few people flat-footed.
Yeah, I think it did, but I mean, it shouldn't necessarily do that, because this is something President Trump actually campaigned pretty hard on. This is something that we heard repeatedly throughout the campaign. It's something we heard right off the bat when he made his announcement that he was going to be running for the Republican nomination. So it shouldn't necessarily be surprising to us that it's something he's talking about at all. I think he's clearly very focused on it, and I think it's the right thing for the American people.
You know, Pablo, there are a lot of so-called angles to this. One, of course, is the legal and moral aspect of it, which it feels to many the White House has the high ground. Nevertheless, there are 300 sanctuary cities, 4 states that have called themselves sanctuary states, and more continue to do this each day. What is the draw? What is the draw about becoming a so-called sanctuary haven for people who broke the law when they came here illegally and subsequently broke it even more?
Well, the draw is that people don't really trust Immigration and Customs Enforcement to follow procedures that even the president has agreed to. If we think for a second that, Donald Trump has said that the people who received deferred action under President Obama, that he was going to protect them. But we have already a case in Portland just yesterday that a young man named Francisco Dominguez, 25 years old, was brought here at 5 years old, volunteers at his local church, coaches on the Little League soccer team, and he works at a food pantry distributing, food to poor people. He was detained last night. This is not what President Trump has said that he is going. This is not where President Trump has said his enforcement priorities are. So I think that the sanctuary cities are the response by compassionate state and local elected officials to say, listen, the only way that we're going to make sure that immigrant communities are willing to cooperate with local law enforcement on, anything from domestic abuse to, God forbid, something like a terrorist-like threat, is if they can come forward and
so in other words, they're going to hold Americans hostage. Is that what you're saying? That they're going to compound the problem of having come here illegally, and in some cases committing additional crimes. They're still somehow going to dictate terms with America.
Charles, I don't think that they're going to hold America hostage, but they are going to do right by local law enforcement. Like, local law enforcement and federal law enforcement are two very different things. What's happening right now is that local law enforcement is being expected to enforce they're expected to do the jobs of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and that's just not what they're there to do. They're there to police communities and make sure that local communities are safe, not to detain people who come forward.
Let me bring in Michael. Michael, you're one of the top immigration attorneys in the entire country.
Thank you.
This is a situation where we're hearing, of course, Attorney General Sessions mentioned Kate Steinle. We had the situation in Maryland where there was a rape, and the cases go on and on every single day. You're likely to open a newspaper or read something online where someone was violated by someone who was in this country illegally, violently, an American. It's got to stop. Why are these sanctuary cities allowed to exist?
This is the theater that we're in. We have to preserve the Federation. We are actually the United States of America, and we have one federal system. We have a bifurcated system where the states can promulgate whatever sanctuaries or rules that they want, but we have one uniform immigration code. We have one sovereign, we have one constitution, and the rights of foreign nationals only start when they come to America. When these individuals are in the United States, and you have 11 million people through our back door here that have not been removed and are not leaving, what do local mayors and governors do? I was a mayor of a city in New Jersey. What do you do for children? You have to educate them, otherwise you'll have more criminals. Who's going to pay for it? Local taxpayers. What has evolved out of sanctuary cities and the deafening silence in Washington is the reliance on local taxpayers and local people to do the federal job. Now, this Attorney General
we've got a federal government that's saying, hey, you know what, just hold on to them. and let us come pick them up, take them back to
No issues. No issues, Charles. When it comes to hardened criminals, they should never see the light of day. And I'm an immigration lawyer. They should go seamlessly with detainers and ICE taking them by their ears out of this country if they're hardened criminals. But you know what? We can't hold people unlimitedly. And we can't, and there are federal court actions that are here to protect Americans and foreign nationals to make sure we don't unlimitedly hold people, or that the police, as your last speaker said, do not take on more than what they can do. They're being asked to do more with limited resources, and it's a foolish use.
Emily, there are also police departments in this country that would like to do their job, and they consider the job arresting someone who happens to be here illegally, someone who's broken a crime to come into this country. And again, compounding the issue of the multiple acts of violence and additional crimes that have been committed, this looks like the first salvo. And again, I think there are going to be a whole lot of new legal avenues. We're going to blaze a trail down, and we'll see what ultimately happens. How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, well, I think that's the key. I think what's going to play out is we're going to hear a lot from the opposition, you know, sort of the humanitarian argument. But I think if you really listen to what Attorney General Sessions said today, the administration is clearly focused on people who are committing crimes. Right, so these policies are targeting, basically we have these pockets of vulnerability in American cities. You know, you can look at the Katie Steinle example, and that's what the administration is targeting. They're targeting people who are, you know, committing crimes in this country, or people who are convicted of committing crimes in this country. So that's what we're looking at here. And I think you can hear a lot of the humanitarian argument on the other side, and I don't necessarily know that that's going to work, because the American people have started to realize, I think that's a huge reason why President Trump was elected, the American people have started to realize that they are creating pockets of vulnerability, and it's a problem for the safety of the American people.
Safety, economic security, and of course, Attorney General Sessions also called it a national security issue as well. Michael?
Getting rid of the hardened criminals, you'll never have an issue. But the vitality, the greatest risk takers, the smartest entrepreneurs that we have are Americans who originally hailed as immigrants themselves.
But you're conflating now.
That's true.
You conflate illegal immigration with illegal immigration, and then that makes the rest of your argument specious at best.
We have left this problem fester, and we have illegal tenancies and landlords creating all sorts of habitability issues, food issues, all kinds of collateral problems. Get rid of the hardened crimes, fix the 11 million people that are here, and move on. This is America. We got to get this right.